So I started my September viewing with a couple of films directed by women, one of which premiered at Sundance earlier this year, the other of which is from a Spanish director and so played in Spain last year and surprisingly won the top Goya award. And I am shocked because it's an okay film, but what else was released that year is what I want to know. But the first one is Josephine Decker's Madeline's Madeline, which had maybe my favorite trailer of the entire year. Like, check that crazy trailer out. Fantastic. Um, Basically, Decker had seen the film star Helena Howard in a teen talent thing in New Jersey and thought she was just fantastic and wanted to make a story with her. The story led to the film, which is about a teen actress who has a strange relationship with a um, immersive theater director. Immersive theater is like experimental theater. Um, and so what you get is this story revolving around Madeline, her teacher Evangeline, and her mother Regina, played by Miranda July. Miranda July is always good. And you get bits of her life with her mother at home, bits of this very strange theater games type theater laboratory um, workshop. And you get Madeline um, going through a lot of teen moments. Her first kiss, getting caught watching porn, all kinds of stuff. Fantastic. And what's so lovely about the film is that you never quite know when you are watching something that is in her brain, something that is um, real, something that is part of a theater game. You never have a reliable like center of gravity in this film, and I really like that for a couple of reasons. One, because you have this teen girl who's experiencing all kinds of things for the first time, but you also get a layer of mental illness that is sort of hinted at. And I've read a couple of reviews that thought that it wasn't well done, and I just they were men, so and they were probably never teenage girls who had mental illness. And as a teenage girl who had mental illness, I felt like artistically this film really showed some of the manic feelings I felt as a youth in a way that I've never seen artistically expressed before. Um, there's a moment when she is talking with her mentor, and they're at this party, and she really is trying to listen, but she keeps getting distracted by all these sounds and things all around her, and she just can't get her brain to focus. And the way that scene is shot, I was like, oh shit, I feel this. There's another scene where she's talking with her mother in the car, and just her rage just overcomes her, and she just throws her drink at her mom. And I was like, oh my god, I've been in that car. I've been that teenage girl with that rage. And so there were moments that just felt so true. That I don't know that I've seen captured well before. And I love it when a movie does something where I'm like, this feels real, and I've never seen it shown before. Like, that is something we just don't get anymore, wherever, or so it's part of why I love watching films by women, and specifically teenage girl films by women. And I have a giant list. Hit me up if you want this list. Is there are certain nuances to teenage girldom that are still a mystery to people who haven't been teenage girls. And I've seen so many great films in the last 5-6 years that really show some of the terrifying aspects of teenage girldom really well. And this goes on that list. I really loved the dizzying way this film was shot by Caroline Shaw was the music. Ashley Connor was the cinematographer, and I felt that some might call it overly artistic, but I think it fit well with the world of Madeline and the way in which her life has become a performance, and her performance is her life. There's also a lot of great things about sort of discussing the ways in which all art is sort of looking for exploitative of real life. Anything is any creator or author or whatever will tell you they've stolen aspects of other things that they've experienced in other lives that they know, and things for any story they've ever written. And this sort of covers the almost you mostly see it from, well, you see from Madeline's point of view, and there's a few moments where she's so in awe of, she's a teenager, and she's so in awe of this woman and her creativity, and the way that she is coming to be her friend. And then every once in a while, you see her see both her insecurities, but also the way in which she is being manipulated, or the way in which her story is being used to create art without her permission. And those moments are so wonderful. And then when the whole tables turn and she takes control of her entire narrative towards the end, it's a wonderful finale. I really enjoyed it. So I don't think you're going to see any movie this year, anything like Madeline's Madeline. It's probably the most unique film I've seen all year, and I highly recommend checking it out. It is fantastic. And I hope that Helena Howard ends up in all the movies, because she is a star with a capital S and so talented, and I just want to see her in everything. The next movie I watched is Isabel Coixet. I hope that's how you say her name. Isabel Coixet's The Bookshop. It's based on a novel by Penelope Fitzgerald, and it is narrated by Julie Christie. I didn't think it was that great. It's not terrible, and there were some moments that I really loved, but the narration doesn't work. It feels forced, especially when you get to the end and you realize who the narrator is. And I think you were supposed to not know who the narrator was and then suddenly go, oh, but it doesn't work. It just it's clunky. And if you knew who the narrator was from the beginning, yeah, you would lose the reveal, but it would flow better. A. B, I don't think it was well shot at all. There was some framing where I was like, especially towards the beginning, where I was like, why did you frame it like that? This is awful. So I spent the first probably 20 minutes just wishing it had been shot better, which I hate when that happens, because then it takes me out of the narrative. And it also basically, to me, and I know that this book was written before the book and movie that later came out of Chocolat, but it was basically the same sort of plot, where, a conservative town is like, hey, and the rich woman who runs whatever is like, hey, I have my own plans for this thing, you can't do it. And so a lot of the stakes, I was like, well, I know exactly how this is gonna go. Like, she's gonna open her bookshop, the rich woman is gonna do everything she can to get it to fail, it's gonna fail, and she's gonna leave. That's what's gonna happen, and that is what happened. And if it weren't for the strong cast, I would call this not a good film. But the strong cast is so good that makes up for everything else that lacks in it. Emily Mortimer is good. Patricia Clarkson's not actually that great. She can't do a good British accent, and I love Patricia Clarkson. Like, get an actual British person. The person playing the teenage, or the girl that was her like assistant, was really good. But lastly, I want to talk about Bill Nighy, because he was fantastic. And if the movie was half as good as his performance, it would be a fantastic movie, but it wasn't. And he was doing very similar sort of performance to one in a film from about 10, 15 years ago called The Girl in the Cafe, which is a really good film. Well, it was really good when I saw it 10, 15 years ago. I have not revisited it in a while, so I might hate it now. But at the time, I remember thinking it was a really good film with him and, oh my God, what's her name? I just forgot her name. But it's a good film. So this one, I'm just sort of like, But I went and saw it at the Terrace Cinemas, and that's mostly a lot of retired people. And this is definitely, and I can say this because I've worked in art house cinemas, this is definitely a film that retired people will enjoy. So go enjoy it. But if you want to take a risk and see something that might shock you and dizzy you and make you like like wonder at the possibilities of cinema, then I would say go see Madeline's Madeline. It's a fantastic film. So both these films, if you're in Atlanta, are playing at the Terrace Cinemas. If you're anywhere else in the Americas, in the United States, they're playing in various theaters here and there. And the Bookshop, I'm kind of on, but I definitely recommend checking out Madeline's Madeline. It's gonna probably be one of my favorite movies by the time the end of the year rolls around.